Happy Wednesday, guys. Welcome back to Inside the Lines. One of those days where we just have a ton of picks across the board. A lot of college. We have Jake back. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk basketball. We'll talk some props that we want to act now on before the NBA slate tomorrow. We're going to take advantage of having a few days to look at these numbers. So a lot to get through, and then I got to head to the studio. So we're going to be in and out of here today. Lots going on. I'm going to bring in Jake and Steven here. Guys, how we feeling? Jake, I will say, without you here yesterday, me and Steven and the team as in the live chat, tried our best to create a nice 4-leg plus 1,000 parlay that was crushed pretty early in the night, which I prefer than sweating it out later in the night. But
definitely
we could use your help today.
The first leg, once the first leg loses, you could go to bed. When the first three legs hit and then you sway in the fourth one, that's when it just gets sweaty. And you either have to decide if you want to edge it or just ride it out.
We should have stuck with just lone traditional Sportsline model value because our one A-rated pick hit. Money line, was it like Ohio money line?
Ohio money line, yeah. I played that. I saw that on yesterday, and I played it. Actually, I played them at -2.
I should put my $10 on that instead of on Mackenzie's parlay. Mackenzie's parlay.
That was a community parlay, okay, guys? And I'd like to hear from the community again. So if anyone feels strongly about their teams, maybe we go 3 legs today, all right? Yeah, Nick, you weren't there, okay? We needed your help yesterday. That was really big. That's really what we were missing. All right, let's head into college basketball first. We got 3 college basketball props, and we'll head into some college baseball. But we need the college basketball master back here. Jake, let's start with Kentucky here, a good player prop.
Yeah, Reed Shepherd over 7.5 rebounds and assists. I'm surprised it's at 7.5, not at 8.5, because 7.5 is hit in 5 straight. It's 18-7 this year, over 7.5 rebounds and assists. So Reed Shepherd's been pretty much playing the whole entire game for Kentucky. And if LSU is able to keep it close, they played Florida close. I think they just beat South Carolina in their last game. So LSU is playing a lot better. So that should mean that Reed Shepherd's on the court most of the night.
All right. Let's move into let's go over to Miami, a little closer to home here. Or Omir. This was an interesting name. One of those we weren't talking about hockey, but we're still finding the tough names out here.
Yeah, Norchad Omir, over 9.5 rebounds. This over is 6-2 in the last 8, but he had just 6 rebounds in the last game, which is why the line is at 9.5, not 10.5, where it usually is. So we're getting at a really good value at 9.5. And I think the over is 15-10 this year, but it's 10-5 at home. And he's a big matchup against Kyle Filipowski and Duke. He's going to want to eat up all these rebounds against a good team. And Duke likes to shoot the ball with Jared McCain. So there's going to be a lot of rebound opportunities in this game.
All right. I like all the board props we got going on. Let's head over to some points here with Kudus Wahab.
Nailed it. Kudus Wahab. Yeah, I'm actually fading him right here. He has hit the under in 3 straight. He's actually a lot better at home than the road, which scares me, but the under is 15-10 this year. I think it's a little boosted because this is his 5th year. He's been on 3 different teams. And I think last year's stats at Georgetown might have inflated his overall statistics, but we're fading him right here. I think he had 3 points in his last game. Illinois is a really good team. They have a ton of length. Coleman Hawkins will probably be guarding him a lot of this game. He doesn't get a ton of shots up. So unless he gets fouled, that's the biggest concern that we should be looking good on the under here.
He has only 11 points in the last 3 games.
Yeah, exactly.
11 points and 11 shots over 3 games. So.
Mm-hmm. Problem is, I think Illinois is a really good team, but sometimes they have defensive lapses. But I like fading him here. I'm surprised it's at 9.5, not 7.5, 8.5, especially with those last 3 games. So hopefully the under trend continues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Speaking
Kevin, Florida, Alabama under 174. I think that's definitely the highest this year. I haven't seen a total that high. I don't know, Steven, if you could check the college basketball database for the totals, but we have it at 165. I think it's just worth an underplay just at the principle alone at 174. I mean, the Gators' defense is not good. Alabama's offense is good. Florida's offense is good. Alabama's defense is okay. But 174 is a lot of points. This is like
Yeah, I think it's Bama's road at home average is 96, and Florida's points allowed on the road is 83. So that's where that number's coming up.
Yeah,
so
but also Bama's home games are average 165 compared to 170.
Yeah, plays much better.
So I mean, I think on principle, I don't mind playing the under here. I think this is the highest total I remember this year. I was looking back to see if this was the highest in the last couple of years, but I saw like in 2016 there was a couple 180s in there. So this isn't like a record, but it's just still insanely high.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I saw Nick S talking about Southern Illinois here against Murray State. It looks like we have really strong model value on them to cover. We only have it as a B grade on the site. Is there a reason it's not higher, Jake?
I mean, I was looking to upgrading this. I don't mind Southern Illinois. They're coming off a big win over Indiana State, one of our teams. I mean, I don't mind this play at all. I think it's did they play each other earlier this season, or is this the first time? Oh, they did. So
they did play. They played Murray State. Illinois State won.
So it was Southern Illinois.
Southern
right
Illinois. Yeah.
So they won by 2 on the road. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I might actually go and upgrade this. What do we have Xavier Johnson projected for? That's a nice little correlation.
19.5 points.
Yeah, I mean, I'd ride with that. So
Dang.
it's definitely correlated.
Nice job, Nick. Good to have you back. All right, let's move on to some college baseball. We're sort of
labor is the best, isn't it? Getting a free work.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right, let's move on to some college baseball here. We'll move over to James Madison, plus a 3.5 versus VA Tech here.
Yeah, so we're going with JMU at home against Va Tech. Virginia Tech, they have really good bats, but their pitching is what's really concerning. And if you look at the trends, midweek home dogs are always where it's at. And 3.5, I'm surprised because James Madison's at plus 180 in this game. So 3.5 is a pretty steep run line for a team that's just plus 180. I guess the sports books are thinking that if Virginia Tech does win, they're probably going to win big. But I'm just surprised that this line's this big. I mean, James Madison, they produced a couple MLB players. One of the Guardians' top prospects went to James Madison. They're a good team, but I'm surprised. I think you're getting pretty good value at plus 3.5 here.
As a student of the college baseball betting game right now, what did you say about midweek underdogs?
Midweek underdogs. I think it was like midweek underdogs on Tuesdays and Wednesdays last year were like plus 30 units.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right.
And I want to say a huge chunk of that is from home underdogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't updated the database because it's so different than the other leagues. This is more like Jacob's pet project. But that pet project's doing really well. But yeah, you can see I only show the perspective of the money line for this league wide. And so Sundays and Mondays, you see the favorites crushing it, plus 1,700, plus 700, basically. Then Tuesday and Wednesday goes down to minus 1,900, minus 1,000. So the underdogs are probably more like plus 1,200, plus 1,300, Jake, right?
Yeah. And something interesting was this past Monday, unders went 9-1. I actually think they went 10-1. I think there was another game there that we don't have in the database that came in late. But unders on Monday cashed big time. I think that some of these over-unders are a little overinflated on Mondays after big scoring weekends. So you get some good value there. But there's not a ton of Monday games as the season goes on.
So favorites crushing and unders hitting,
Yeah.
so that underdogs can't score.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have team total bets in college baseball, Jake? Do they have any of those team total lines posted?
I don't think they have team totals, but they have. Hard Rock actually has same game parlays where you could bet the totals, you could bet the spread and everything. So you could play some like correlated plays on DraftKings and Hard Rock, which is definitely new this year.
All right. So midweek underdogs at home and unders on Mondays is what I'm learning so far. Looks like a similar trend here with Texas Tech. Are they home dogs as well versus Oregon State?
Yeah, this game just started at 1.
Oh, right.
I posted it in the chat earlier, but this game shot from Texas Tech plus 120 to plus 140. I actually have this game as a Texas Tech home game, but it's in Arlington, which is pretty much a Texas Tech home game. So I just kept them as a home team for this. The biggest concern is Texas Tech has played 5 games in like 6 days this season, which is why people are concerned. But they should have some of their Saturday, Sunday starters available from the bullpen in this game because it's a pretty big game in terms of RPI. So both teams are going to want a big win here. But I just think you're getting value on Texas Tech here.
All right. I guess we can watch that one play out through the next 10 minutes as well. This next play here, again, this is student to the game right now. 15.5 feels like a pretty high number. I guess that's why it's juiced to minus 130. Is that kind of the highest we'll usually see for college baseball?
No,
or is it higher?
You'll see occasionally. You'll see 19.5, 20.5. Especially like last year when Coastal Carolina was playing. So you'll see a lot bigger numbers than this. I think yesterday Austin P Mississippi State closed at 16.5, but I'm surprised. There's a lot of 15.5, 16.5s on the board today, but this started open at 15.5 on DraftKings, moved to 15, but you can still get it on Hard Rock at minus 130 under 15.5. Southeast Louisiana, they're an under team. South Alabama, not so much, especially at home, but it's pretty split 50-50. But I think this is the game where when this line's a little overinflated, and we're betting on the pitching staff from Southeast Louisiana, limiting South Alabama's pretty high-powered offense.
Right. Well, don't convince me much. I'm in. I'll tail it. All right, let's move on. I see some sprinkles of NBA chatter starting to come into the chat. We're going to talk about a few player props here that we know we probably want to act now on. So let's move on to those here. We'll start in Brooklyn. We got a player prop with Gary Trent Jr.
Yeah, well, this is not an act now. This is a wait and see because the line actually went from 10.5 down to 9.5. There's some concerns about his back injury, so I'm going to wait on this one. This one, Garland is not moving, so we're probably okay. It was minus 105, so it might be costing a little bit more by tomorrow. We like this one because a lot of the lines bumped down because of his minutes restriction when he came back from injury. He had 7 straight unders with mostly playing under 30 minutes. But despite that, the over still 8-5 at home, nearly 27 average. So prior to his injury, he had 8 straight overs. So I'm banking on the All-Star break being good for him and him being back to his full usage and minutes. This one's an odd one. Yeah.
No, I'm interested in these at least. Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton. I'd like to talk about some Detroit players as well. If we can go to the model after your pick too, but just interested to see some of the guys that we mentioned are out of the doghouse now for Detroit, like Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren putting up massive rebounding numbers recently. I wonder what his line is.
We do like points, rebounds, and assists over for both of them. So I bet that's because we like Ivey's points and Duren's rebounds.
Okay.
So we like, this is based on a consensus line. Ivy 16.5 points. I mean, it's probably heavily juiced minus 140. So that's why it wasn't picked as like a great value because of the heavy juice on it. And 7.5 rebounds and minus 164 for Duren. So that's why we like the over, but not at the prices that you're probably going to get.
That's maybe where I'd play Duren to get a double-double or whatever the price is.
Yeah. But what's that?
What about Oster Thompson? Isn't he seeing some more minutes too?
Yeah. I don't see lines coming through for me on him, but if someone has anything.
I'll take a gander.
Yeah.
Okay, but we can go back to your other pick on the other side of the ball here with Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, this is a weird one because his steals are way down this season. He's averaging 1 versus like 1.6 last season. I'm not sure what the deal is there. Maybe he's just trying to avoid not taking many risks. Interestingly, we're only projecting 1.2 steals, which is obviously under 1.5, but the value of plus 150 is enticing. And I say if not now, when? Because this is actually our highest projected steal game for Tyrese Halliburton the rest of the season. And 10 straight unders. Again, he had a minutes restriction like Garland as well, coming back from injury. Before the injury, the over was 5-3. He had 5 steals versus Boston. Also like the fact that Detroit is second, I think, in the league in committing turnovers. So again, if not this game, when?
Yeah, I know. I go to bed every night just waiting for the day I can bet on Tyrese Halliburton steals. It's usually what I think about right before.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here to another game. Let's see who else you got some value on here. I do want to sit on this game for a little bit. The New York game? Sixers game. Yeah. Sure. Buddy Hield, he's gone over 20 points, I believe, in his last 3 showings, and his line is pretty low. I'm just a little confused why.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, he's been used a ton by Philly once the trade happened, and that's why I was going with his over 3.
Heavy minutes. Yeah.
And I'm also kind of, it's an issue on the other side. New York, their defense was great 90% of the season before the All-Star break, but since OG Anunoby's out and partially with the trade, this is what teams have shot from 3 against New York recently. Very high numbers. The low is 39%, 38%. So I'm just going to bank that Hield is still going to get plenty of looks. He's averaged 10 3-point attempts per game as a Sixer, playing a ton of minutes. So over that, even though our projection is not technically great value at over 3.5 and minus 107, I like that.
How do we feel about his just point projection overall? Yeah.
Probably like
what 18.5.
What's it at?
18.5 on books I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, we only have 14. We don't have a huge projected number just because the 4 games. This is kind of ridiculous usage, that I don't think it's going to continue. I think it'll go back to being.
What about Kelly? What about Kelly Oubre?
We have projected 14.5 points. What's his line?
Okay. 16.5. Yeah. It's off some pretty major books though, so maybe that comes out different. I don't know. I don't know why Buddy Hield's line's so low. I guess just because maybe they're not going to play him the 45 minutes they have been playing him. Yeah,
that's what it is. One more game, if he plays 38 plus minutes, then we'll make a real adjustment. But right now we're still projecting him as a backup, guard.
Is LaMelo Ball going to play? Because I saw we have him
game time decision, I believe.
So if you like Trey Mann, you're probably, if you like 23.5, get that now, because if there'd be plenty of value if LaMelo is rolled out. It just all depends on LaMelo, because we have him bumped way down in the projections because we have LaMelo playing. But if you hear that LaMelo is probably out, then I'd hop on Trey Mann, because that mine will probably close at 26.5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all dependent on LaMelo.
Yeah, that's interesting. Were there any other picks we liked in this game, Steven, that you thought were worth acting on?
Yeah, I mean, so I like John Collins and his blocks. Now, unfortunately, if you look at his recent log, you see a lot of at least 1 block, and you see a 0. That's the one I had him over. But, so he owes me. Averages more at home, 15-11 at home. He's on a solid 7-3 over streak. Just again, I was one of the ones he missed.
Mm-hmm. Before we wrap it up here and hit the recap screen, any other specific props for tomorrow you think we should act on now, think we should mention now? I'm going to put up all but
I think we mentioned it yesterday, the price on Alex Caruso's steals and blocks is going up. It was like minus 120. It's ticked up, so you might get that before it goes too high. One other note, too, the model had a strong value on Chicago against the spread. It actually went down when I revised it because Andre Drummond's playing more minutes, so I bumped him up more minutes. And actually, even though he's a great rebounder, overall for the last 3 seasons, his teams are actually slightly worse when he plays more than 10 minutes. So by bumping him up, his inefficiency is a pretty high turnover rate for a guy with the ball not in his hands that much. And obviously he can't shoot, he's not a free throw shooter. And he's not a super high 2-point shooter, even though you would think just a dunker. So the offense that he actually had a negative effect on Chicago, and they went from being just like 4.5-point dogs or 4-point dogs to 6-point dogs. In terms of player prop value, I do like, there was a couple that I did Marcus Acknowles that I noticed the line movement. Durant over points and rebounds, 32.5. The price is going up. I'm worried that I'll go back up to closer to what his average, especially if Beal isn't ready to go. Caruso, I mentioned. Giddey, 13.5 points and assists. Line's really low because of his recent 13 games is pretty low, but his home average is considerably higher than his road. And last year, this would have been a lock. He's 71-5 last year. He's shooting the ball less this season. And that might be those are the ones that with the lines have been moving pretty significantly. The rest we can reserve for tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll attack in small increments here, but definitely want to get the ones out that were necessary too right now. I'm going to throw up the recap screen here. Here are all 12 plays. We'll go over some of the ones we didn't get to today. Tomorrow, probably add some more too. I'm sure Jake will have some props he likes as well. Some college baseball. We got this in the chat, pumped up about college baseball, college basketball, all the things. So get ready for more NBA tomorrow. We're certainly going to continue to attack this 12-game slate. If you have any questions, as always, reach out to us on Twitter, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.